Joe.
George, what the hell's going on, man?
I beat you to it.
You did. I'm not used to that. You kind of took me off guard.
Fuck you.
So,
how's things?
things are great, but we got that whole audio thing going on again, so I got to bust your balls and
Again, it's still happening right now?
Yeah.
Really? The high voice shit?
No, I'm referring to we have the audio only thing, so you have to explain what's going on.
Oh. Fuck you, Joe. Jesus, you didn't even give me a chance. I was gonna say
it. There it is.
I blame Joe. Everybody, welcome to Romero Pictures Indie Brigade. I'm your host, George C. Romero. And with me, as always, is the ever-faithful and loving Joe Ranchley. That was for you, Lance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well played.
Joe Ranchley. Where's all your names tonight, buddy?
Well, I took them down. I thought that it would be too much, and then people would start, confusing me with other well-known people.
Oh, like the other Joe Ranchley?
Exactly. So for those of you that don't know, George is a little under the weather tonight, so we're going to be busting his chops constantly about that.
Joe is also a little under the weather tonight, so every time he busts my chops, it's just going to make me angrier at him than usual.
All right.
Oh, I used your line too. You go.
So what do we got going on tonight? We got something actually a little different tonight that we don't normally do, and it's kind of cool because we have cast and crew from, what the hell is it again? Oh yeah, 100 Acres of Hell. And normally we have one person on at a time. Tonight we're going to try something a little different.
We're pushing the envelope. We're trying to break our technology.
Yes, and then that way it won't be my fault.
It's still your fault.
All right.
Yeah, so anyway, things are good. This sickness is going around. Everybody I know has got a flu, got a cold, got something going on like that. But it doesn't matter because at the Indie Brigade, we've got some amazing stuff going on. Let's not forget everything we talked about last time we got together here for the premiere of Season 2 with the new announcement about the new website at romeropictures.com that has all of the stuff that you can find from our audio streams. And Joe will tell you where you can find all of those, like iHeartRADIO and Spotify and a whole list of them that I can't remember because I'm so hopped up on cold medicine. It's not even funny.
Oh, you wanted me to have those prepared?
Don't make me laugh or I'm going to go into a coughing fit.
That's why Chuck says, Joe Ruffles has ridges. All right, fair enough.
So that's interesting. Hi, Chuck. What's up? I'm happy you're here. I actually would like to tell everybody that Chuck, actually one of the guests on our very first episode and has been a guest a couple of times, has joined the Indie Brigade with his very own Nasty Nation podcast. You will be able to find that on Chuck's Facebook page. Also on Facebook under Nasty Nation, and you will very soon be able to find it through all of our Romero Pictures links. We are getting ready to launch a whole new look and feel for everything, so that's kind of something else very cool going on. We've got new artwork, new logos, new everything to make everything a little bit more cohesive and make everything a little bit easier for people to find based on colors. And I know, Joe, that's important to you because sometimes those words are a little hard for you. I get it.
I'm sorry, what? There's a coughing fit, ladies and gentlemen. Special shout out, if I may, to Ange. Happy birthday, Ange, and thank you for supporting the show as always. We love Ange. Thank you.
What's up, Ange? Thank you.
We got Dino.
Dino! I can't read your emojis. I don't know what they all mean other than the hearts. I think it means love, death.
It's going to punch you in the face.
Yeah, I got punched in the face and then more love.
Hey, we got Chuck speaking out to you.
Chuck, you are the man, dude. I think people are going to be excited about the Nasty Nation. I think that you've got a great thing going, and I'm glad that you brought back the Nasty Nation, and I'm glad you bring it to the Indie Brigade, man. Proud to have you. Proud to see how far you take it. Can't wait to watch and grow with you, man.
I agree. I think we're going to bring our first guest on.
Perfect.
And I think I'm going to let you introduce him.
Sounds great. First, we've got Jason Kerner from 100 Acres of Hell. Writer, producer. Jason, how's it going? Did I say your last name right?
You know what? You're one of the few that actually got it right. Everybody says Koner. Actually, it's just, you know what? Oh, it's silent. It's
That's
current.
what I thought.
You got
Yeah,
it right. You
I'm
nailed
from
it.
Pittsburgh, man, and you got the
There we
yeah.
go.
I got it. I got it. I got it.
No,
So
And-
thank
right.
you.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you
Excellent.
doing, man?
Doing good, man. I'm doing very well. Very happy to be on the show. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. In the future, you don't have to ask Joe how he's doing. Fuck him.
Fuck you, Joe.
Yeah, there you go. I love how
I love
people
you.
get that
You
so
know that I love.
quickly.
I tag him on everything. So both you guys, I love you both. I felt bad for a second. Sorry, Joe.
No, don't, please. I'm used to the abuse. It's okay. I'm going to go cry in my soup.
Yeah,
By soup, I mean Jim Beam, but whatever. Hey,
it's all. It is what it is.
Wait a second, if I may interrupt. Apparently, his last name is Hump.
Ernie, what's up, man?
I love you. His real last name is Hump. Yeah.
Ernie was on our show. I'm so happy that you're here, man.
Ernie.
And we got Ed.
Hey, Big Ed. What's up, brother?
Team 100 hashtag Team 100 Acres of Hell. Tell us about your hashtag real quick before we get into things. What's up with that? Is that just how's that working out? Do your hashtags work out for you, man?
They're working out. I mean, people climb on board. They hashtag it, they share it. So yeah, it works out. I just got into hashtagging this past, I don't know, year. Before that, I didn't even know what it was really. You know what? I'm an idiot when it comes to, Twitter, horrible. I have an account for like 3 years. I think I have 4 followers. I just don't,
Yeah.
But now I'm trying to pick it up more. So, but as for the hashtags, it's slowly working its way into me where I'm getting used to it more.
I'm not very good at that stuff either. Joe gets on to me about it, but fuck him.
Man, the abuse I'm taking tonight.
Yeah.
So on that note, I'm going to dip out and I am going to let you guys talk. And then in a couple of moments, I'm going to bring up Jeff. So
Awesome. Jason, it's just us now. You don't have to hide your feelings about Joe anymore.
Oh, good. Thank God he's gone. Fuck him.
I know, he's such an asshole. I know.
I'm kidding. I feel horrible.
Oh man, no, seriously, I got to tell you, what you've done here is something amazing. And I know that most of the shows you go on, you talk about it and you promote it, and I obviously want to do that here tonight. But I also want to get into a little bit of more hard talks about some of the stuff that this film took 9 years, right?
Yeah, it took 9 years.
Yeah, I want to get into talking about some of that shit. But first of all, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us all who is going to be on here tonight with you. Tell us about. You go ahead and plug everything and anything you want to plug about this film, man.
Hey, Brian Stalter. Yeah, no, Brian, I'm not single. Wow. Well, first, I got, the beautiful co-stars, 100 Acres of Hell. I got Catherine Corcoran. She's over. Actually, she's staying up. She's going to be on the show. She's over in London. She's doing some work over there. Katie Walsh. She's out in Pennsylvania. And Jeff Swanton, who is also one of the investors and one of the producers, one of the executive producers in the film as well. He played Trent, which is one of the main bros, in the film. This movie really, when I say 9 years, it was a very, very long, drawn-out 9 years. Came up with it. I remember I was getting back from my honeymoon. I cut it short because we had to film a movie, this other movie that we were doing, and we're in Atlantic City, and we're in the back deck just on the last day of filming, and I was telling Joe Ruda, who worked on the film with us, he played Cutter in the film as well, and which was a great help in the film. And we were discussing like where I want to be in 5 years, and I told him I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do something on a bigger scale, and going over different ideas with movies. And then about a year later, I met, Gene Snitsky, and Gene and I hit it off like brothers. He's a great guy, I love him. So Gene tells me one day, I want to take you up to this place. It's a gaming preserve. It's huge. It's incredible. Gated. and just, check it out for him. It might be a good idea for a movie. So he goes, takes me there. And the first thing I'm thinking about was, because the gaming preserve, they have this building where the people who hunt the elks or the wild game that's within this parameter on this property, they'll butcher them. So I came up with this slaughterhouse film that was rolling through my head. And I would have Gene like the main, killer, this crazy mutant slaughterhouse killer. And then everything just changed. It went from slaughterhouse to the mutant killer to, the guys in the woods. And something that I really wanted to do was pay an homage to, the 70s and 80s slasher flicks. And one of the big things was, all in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, we have the icons. We have Jason, Freddy, Mike Myers, Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers, and who's the other one? I can't think of it right now. There's another one, but you got these icons, and like everybody else, like in pro wrestling, you hand the torch over, like Andre the Giant to Hulk Hogan, and we haven't had any like real new, main killers.
Right.
I kind of, in my head had this idea of a killer that could be like the next icon, and I remember I went home and I started writing down all these ideas in my head, and pages and pages and pages. After a whole weekend, I called up Gene, told him this idea. He said, "Oh, it's great," and from there, I told my business partner and very good friend, Ed McKeever, who's also, he's, producer on this film, and help put together the script. And from there, we had an idea of where we wanted this film to go. And then it was just building the characters, and Ernie O'Donnell, who I knew of from school, and somehow he was related to my wife one way or another, everybody knows Ernie from the Kevin Smith films, Clerks, and all that. Brought him on board, to play, one of the main characters, Morgan. And he sat in on a meeting, and there he is, stupid look on his face. I'm looking at the sun, Ma. Stupid. So anyway, he brought him in, and he came up with some ideas. It's like, what? He has so much to offer. So we brought him in as a producer, and then, his ideas, we're great. I can't take it away from the guy. He's a very smart, brilliant guy, very creative. Bottom line is, we've had our ups and downs. We talked to investors. They want to come in, and then they would pull out. And it was just like, hi, Janet. Hi. They want to pull out, and then they pull out when unexpected, just when you think you're going to get this money and you're on the cusp of literally getting it, they pull out. So we had that going back and forth like a tennis match. Investors coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. And then we had Alan Schlechter, which is one of our investors, who really, helped us, with the seed money. We get this really, the whole thing going, and we're able to put together our total cast and our crew. And like I said, I work with other people, with these people in other films, and just brought them on, and they're great. And I love working with people that I can depend on,
Right.
So after all that, one of the biggest hits, and it was horrible. We went to film the trailer, and the day of, we had everybody back. We had everybody at Gene's house, and we're about to leave to film the trailer. And I remember I pulled up, and I remember Gene saying, "I got bad news." I said, "Okay, what?" He said, "The guy who owns the preserve backed out. We can't use his property."
Mm-hmm.
The day of.
Yeah.
The day, hours.
Crazy, right?
So you can't even imagine. We spent a lot of money, got a lot of people here, people's time and everything's set up, and now we don't have property. Gene was able to scramble and find us a property, and we started shooting.
That day, or how long did that set you back?
Actually, it's funny because Gene wound up securing a place for us, I think within 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
We got lucky. We got real lucky. We wind up, filming the trailer and then using that trailer to secure more funding. And we got William Stoneburner. He's out in Texas, one of the investors, and he secured funding. And then we did Indiegogo campaign, because once we filmed, everybody goes over budget.
Right.
We had X amount of dollars to make the film. We went over budget to finish the film, everything in, post, everything just adds up and adds up. One of the hardest things, and it really did take a very long time, was getting the SAG right, because it's a SAG film and they do not mess around. You got to really dot your I's, cross your T's. They do not mess around. And literally, that was a tennis match. I would think I would do something. I remember Stacy Toy, she was taking care of it. I should have.
Brian says I should have pulled out.
Yeah. Stacy Toy was a production manager. She wore many hats, just like Ed McKeever wore many hats on set. They all worked their asses off. And where was I going with this? Brain fart.
You're talking about SAG.
Oh, SAG. So she was doing that. Then there were other projects. And so for her not to get overwhelmed, I wind up taking over and finishing up with the SAG. And I feel like, when you take a test, your teacher really loves you and they'll pass you by the skin of your teeth, even though you failed.
Yeah.
I think that's what the guy at SAG did. He felt so bad for me that he just said, you know what? It's fine. And whatever screw up we did, he probably corrected it because he knows it like the back of his hand. So I thank SAG. They were absolutely incredible. So once that was done, it was a matter of finding distribution. Once everything was done and editing, and we had a great editor, Marky Denenbaum. He was excellent. And Tony Wise, he helped finishing up with the edit as well. Did an excellent job. I love actually the beginning credits of the film, Marky did. And it was just like, I was blown away when I saw it, and then when we put the music, our music composer, Michael J. Romeo, when he put the music together, and Ernie and I would listen to the music and critique it, and he would tweak it, and he made the music for us for this film, so sure. It's unique for the, to the film, and it's ours. So love it. And it's music that we're going to be using in the sequels, so once we got everything together, it was a matter of finding distribution. And Ernie and I really, took up, talking to distributors, and we've talked to everybody, and we were getting deals left and right, but the deals weren't for us. They wanted pretty much to own the entire film, take it away, and we'll get this little portion. And then another distribution company sounded more reasonable. And I'm like, wow, this distribution company wants 50% and we'll get 50%. Okay, that's, it's a first major, bigger film. That's not so bad. And then somebody else comes at 34%. They'll take 34%. I'm like, oh, that's great. So, and then somebody was at 25%. I'm like, wow. So they were just going down and down and talking to other people. And then we had people that were shocked that we turned them down. They were rude. And I can't say any names. I'm not going to say any names or any distribution companies. But yeah, some were pretty rude.
Yeah.
And then we locked in with Indican Pictures, who works with Lionsgate. So we wind up, who works with Lionsgate, where they deal with stars, and Lionsgate owns stars, Mm-hmm. So the beauty about that is, it's like when we had to go through everything with them, what was a little rough when you're dealing with studio, everything has to be studio quality. So even they redid the trailer, and they redid their own poster because it had to be approved through Lionsgate. Before they put their stamp on anything, they got to make sure that it's what they want.
Right.
So that process took about, oh God, from time we signed the contract, distribution contract, to the time it came out in October, about almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Because the deliverables, George, had to be like right to the letter.
Yeah.
And it was like working with SAG all over again. It was like, it was one of the hardest things dealing with all this, because every time it got shot back, Ernie and I are scrambling, trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to do this? We have to change this. We have to do this. We have to tweak this. We got to have so many stills of this, and he's pulling his friend cards, people that he knows, and I'm trying to do the same. And we're trying to get this whole picture together and get it right, just so we can get a release date and they could put their stamp on and say, okay, guys, you guys from 100 Acres did your job. You got us everything we needed. And it's perfect. Your release date is this date. And every time we sent something, I was like, please don't send it back and say, we need you to change this or that. And when that day came where they said, okay, you guys are good to go, it was like, a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Those deliverables can be a killer, especially for the indie guys, man.
Oh my God. That's the thing. It's like, there's people I work with, like I said, I've worked with them in other films, and we're all like an indie group, and a lot of us are Jersey, South Jersey, and people in Atlantic City, Pennsylvania, East Coast people, we had this, people that I actually met at other, like horror cons. I met at the horror cons that I had a relationship with, like Lee Hoffman, her husband, Ralph Colbert, who made the costume for Jed Tucker, so I hired them because they do steampunk.
Yeah.
And so they already had that great, the imagination. So they went within, they built this great costume for Jed Tucker. And, there was a lot of characters in this film that was, that really stood out. One of the characters I've known since I was a little boy, and his name was Robert Waldron. He was, he played Old Merle in the film in the general store. And he just passed away about a month and a half ago. And I'm so happy that we were able to get everything done and get it distributed and get it out there for the world to see, and him to see that.
Yeah.
It means the world, because he was absolutely incredible, multi-talented man, and I love him, and may he rest in peace. And he was just amazing, So we had these, these great characters like Katie Walsh. She was absolutely incredible, and you're going to see, Jeff pop up in a minute, and Catherine Corcoran, and Ernie and Gene, and Jesus, Gene was the main character in it, and it was like a battle royale of two rams coming at the end when they were fighting with Samu and the whole Anawahi, family.
You know what I love is like your passion and love for this project and the people involved with it is literally infectious. I can, it oozes from you, and that's so great, because you talk to a lot of people who do this for a living, and who get projects out there, and there's a tendency for people like Joe to always mute his microphone, but beyond that, sorry, no, there's a tendency for people to take. To kind of take it for granted a little bit, and not sit back and realize what they had to go through to get through. And what I love about everything you're saying is, it's just the sort of the gratitude, I guess, and the humbleness about you and everybody else I've talked to so far, that we had on pre-show. Everybody's so fucking cool, man. And I just love that. And I don't want to ignore the fact that Paul Brooks posted up a question about funding, and I want to get to that stuff, but we've got some other guests to bring up as well with you. And just to recap, everybody out there, just in case you're listening to the audio stream, you're listening to Romero Pictures Indie Brigade with your host, George C. Romero and Joe Ranchley. And our guests tonight are from 100 Acres of Hell. Right now we're chatting with Jason Turner, and we're about to bring up Jeff Swanton and some other folks from the crew, and Libby McDermott's there saying hello to everybody in the comments here.
Hi, Libby.
This has been a 9-year project for you, man. This has been 9 years of your life to get this done. That's huge.
That's right, Lance, the Duke.
There you go.
This is Ernie O'Donnell's favorite actor in the world. Here's for you, Ernie, you hump.
Well, the one question I had was, you mentioned the posters, Jason, and I was curious about that because I had those pulled up. So is this the original one, or is that?
That is, you know what? I'm going to tell you something about the posters. All right, that is the original one. Lenny Machowski, he made the poster for us. Excellent, excellent artist. That was the original one, and then it changed where we actually had Jeb Tucker. That one. Then we had Jeb Tucker in the poster.
Okay, the only other one I saw was this one.
That's the one that Lionsgate wanted to do.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not my first pick, but it's what
Yeah, I don't think it kind of gives to the story exactly what it's supposed to be about. I don't know. I kind of like the. Okay.
Let me be the one to say this about that, if you don't mind. That way you don't have to say anything you don't want to say, but I can speak from a little bit of personal experience. I get it, man. You didn't want the poster designed by the fucking marketing department and lawyers. I get it. I once did a film. We had a phenomenal artist do all of the artwork, literally hand illustration, all that stuff. Then the fucking sales company comes in and they release it with artwork that had like clip art and shit from the fucking internet that they pulled. And I was furious, but what these guys are doing with your film is seems great. I know Sean over at Indicant, she's great. And I think that you've got something phenomenal here. But I get it, you wanted what you wanted, and that's a reality that a lot of us indie guys have to face when we go out there in the distribution. And at the end of the day, no matter how hard you fucking fight, their lawyers, their marketing departments, their money is going to make the determination, and I mean,
correct.
So we then are faced with making this choice of, what's the lesser of all the evils and what's best for our film and what's best for us as an artist. And I think it seems to me like you guys made all the right decisions, man. So it seems like you've got something really great going on here.
All right.
I really appreciate it. And, I want to say really quick is it was one of my favorite movies in the world was The Exorcist. And it was one of the movies I saw when I was like 8 years old. And it was I was afraid of everything. I watched that. After that, I was afraid of nothing because I didn't think anything could scare me. There you are, you beautiful thing.
Right?
I love Eileen. She is absolutely a pleasure to work with. And I got to tell you something. She brings her own footwear to whatever she does because her feet are so small. They're like baby feet. They're like 4 inch. Like she has special shoes. She has the smallest fucking feet ever. And she's so small, and she wears them in little platforms. She's adorable. Absolutely, it was an honor to be in her presence. She's done so much, and absolutely love her. She just messaged me today about New Jersey Horror Con because we're going to be there in March.
Nice.
But there was. I just want to say before I forget later. There was. I just want to thank everybody in the cast and crew that really helped make this what it is. Without you guys, there wouldn't be 100 Acres of Hell. You guys hung in there 9 fucking years, and I tip my hat to you all. I thank you. It was just one of those things where, you believed in it, and you believed in me, you believed in Gene, you believed in Ed, believed in Ernie, believed in all of us, and you stuck it out. And now it's out there. Everybody's been asking when's it coming out. It is out. It's on all the platforms right now. It's doing well. And I just want to thank everybody, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. You made a dream come true.
That's awesome, man. You're a fucking cool dude.
I
I mean that sincerely, you know. And you brought up. I take notes when I have people on the show, and I've been jotting down some stuff that I want to kind of circle back about. But our next guest that we're going to bring up is Jeff Swanton, who you said not only he plays Trent, but he's also an investor in the film.
Sure.
And that goes back to something you said about investors, and so many of them coming on and then leaving and backing out, and coming in, getting out, coming in, getting out. And that's something that I wish I could say it's an old story or it's a brand new story, but it's an old story. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it happens more times than it doesn't happen. And Jeff, thank you. It's nice to meet you. I didn't get to talk to you much pre-show, but thank you for joining us, and thanks for being here tonight, and welcome to the Brigade.
My pleasure, George. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate having me on.
Absolutely. So I guess my first question to you as an investor, is this your first time investing in a film? If not, well, I guess let's start with that. Is this your first time investing in a film?
It is, absolutely. Yeah, it was my first time. I didn't actually, it's kind of funny, I didn't become an investor until I was already on board and acting in the film. And I got more involved with Jason and with Ernie, who I've known for a long time. And we started talking about, the financials of it and where the film was going to go. And, I was so, between Jason and Ernie and everybody that was involved, I was truly amazed at how passionate everybody was for this film. That, we had no budget to work with, but everybody that was involved, you could see, was so totally invested. Not only the actors, everybody behind the stage, but the crew, the cast crew, everybody that worked on it believed in it so much that it became infectious. And I got into it, and it said, you know what? This is a freaking great project. If this doesn't get done, it's a shame. So I went, behind my mattress and couch cushions and stuff, and I said, to grab whatever the hell I can, and I want to throw down at this and make sure this freaking thing happens. And so that's really how it came about. I went to Ernie and I said, well, I want to do my part and make sure this thing gets out there, because it would be a crying shame to see so much hard work not come to fruition. So that's how the producer part of it for me came about.
That's really cool, I mean, and it's interesting because you, like you said, you were already deeply invested in the project creatively. You were already on board. You were already in the film, and I'm wondering, why more investors aren't like you?
Yeah, I mean, I think, some guys are just into it for dollars and cents, and I get it. But, I mean, I was part of it creatively, so maybe that takes it down a different avenue. I don't know. Maybe it gets in your blood differently than it does for just, guys that are just crunching numbers.
Well, I mean, there had to be some number crunching to it in your mind, though, right? I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to get into any details of the deal or any of that stuff, but there are two different sides, right? I've talked to more investors than I can even count in my life. And, I'm telling you, like, there's got to be, at the end of the day, there has to be some business to it, right? Otherwise, what's the point? Well,
100%. I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm involved in it. And yes, creatively, it was great. I mean, I was having an awesome time. But, there is that business side of me, too. That's, if I thought it was going nowhere and it had no chance to succeed, obviously, I wouldn't have, thrown my hat in the ring to it. So I did believe in it. And I believed in, it could turn around and be profitable. So I wanted to see it.
So this is the investor side of things. Obviously, the creative side of things. You're an actor. You enjoy that part. That's something that's going to be part of your life for the rest of your life. Is the investor thing something that you enjoyed from a business point of view? Is that the type of thing that you see yourself doing in the future? Because a lot of investors that I talk to, you get the old story. Oh, I invested in a movie once, and then blah blah blah, and this happened and that happened. I'll never do it again. But then you get the other investors who are like, this is the best thing I ever put my money into because I feel fulfilled and I feel like I can continue to do this and feel great about myself. Moving forward, where you sit with this whole thing? What do you like doing better? Acting, investing? What's your?
I can see myself doing both. I mean, I consider myself an actor first.
Right.
But if the right opportunity came along, I mean, I've talked to this about with some people about some other projects too, and I've mentioned that, hey, if it was the right project, maybe I would come on board in some sort of executive producer aspect too. So I truly look at it from both sides. As you know, I think as we get older and kind of evolve, even from actors, they kind of get onto the director side, and a lot of them kind of morph into the executive producer side, because I think they believe in their projects so much, and they get the capital behind them, and they want to put it out there, and they want to make sure that the public's able to see that. So I think for me, it's hand in hand. It's both.
Yeah.
I want to be out there. I want to be behind the camera. I love acting. At the same time, if I'm passionate about a project, whether I'm in it or not, I'd like to be in the producer part of the role. I can see that role too.
Hang on one second. Joe's holding up his pen, which means I have to throw out a quick "fuck you, Joe," and ask what's so important that you want to interrupt, buddy.
Well, first of all, you need to start plugging the audio only thing still. But other than that all brought up a valid point. And Jeff and Jason are both executive producers. And what I found out fascinating about this film, the budget on the film doesn't equal to what the film was. It was like, holy crap, you guys did that for what? Now, I'm not trying to get into specifics what you guys spent, but it was just like, wow.
Well, let me just ask this real quick. Is what's represented on the internet, that's probably not accurate, correct?
What was the number on the internet?
65 G's.
That's exactly what it was.
No way.
That's fucking impressive.
Yeah. You know what?
Impressive.
Hold on, let me get my pen up.
There you go.
Right, you know what? And I'm going to tell you, it was. We were trying to figure out how we could do this, for a low budget. But then you had to figure out, we wanted it to be SAG, so it couldn't be like a $20,000 film. It had to be a little bit more. And then what we wanted to do, and then that tagged on money. And then we were able to get money from, investors like Jeff and Alan. And, I put money into it. Ed McKeever was one of the investors. He's put a ton of money into it. And what's his name? Oh, gosh. Alan Stoneburner. Just a lot of people just really helped out and to make this movie happen. Now, when you watch it, because of the people that believed in the film and worked in the film, the crew and all, and we were able to get the quality of the equipment and the best equipment to use and all. Hey, Morgan. We shot a film that everybody said, well, how much did you? I didn't tell anybody right away. And they said, well, how much was it? 2 million, 3 million, because of the quality, how it was filmed, and how it was shot and how it looks. It looks like a bigger budget, larger budget film, and people look at the trailer and they say the same thing, so the few people I have told, now everybody knows, they were like, come on. And I'm like, no, I'm dead serious. That's just about $65,000.
So this raises a lot of questions, because a lot of people who watch the Indie Brigade, we're dealing with small budgets. So now this is SAG. First of all, SAG is actually a lot nicer than most people give them credit for being. It's kind of like SAG. Everybody gets nervous when they have to deal with SAG. It's kind of like the IRS. But then you deal with SAG, and most people come away from dealing with SAG and say, you know what, that was actually a pretty good experience, and they were really helpful and really great with me. So at 65 G's, you were probably in the ultra low or the
ultra low budget, ultra micro, small as the budget can be. That's the platform we were on, and like you said, they were excellent to work with. Even when they would send stuff back and say you need to do this, they did it in such a pleasant way. We worked well with them, and like I said, I felt like. Leif was the gentleman I dealt with towards the end, and I felt like I said earlier, like the student that the teacher loved, but he would fail if there was another teacher, but the teacher just passed me because she liked me. And
Yeah.
I felt that's what Leif did. He's like, you know what? This guy's a sweetheart. His film, everybody we worked with is a sweetheart. I'm just going to help him through. And that's how I felt. But I guess, they have a job to do, and we did it right, finally.
Well, and I don't know if you saw any of the last couple of episodes that we did, but a good buddy of mine is a guy named Mike Mandeville, who was the line producer for the Taken series of films, and he's probably the best line producer I've ever met. He's the guy who mentored me on how to think about screenwriting with a calculator, is what he calls it. And when it comes to a number like $65,000, and I look at the cast and the resources, and I see the quality of the film that you turned out. It makes me want to ask you guys questions like, where did the lion's share of that budget get allocated? What kind of gear did you shoot on? Did you call in favors for that, or did you dedicate most of your budget to gear? Obviously, how do you think about, how did you guys, as the filmmakers and the producers and the executive producers, how did you think about how to allocate such a small budget to crank out something that looks literally like you spent $2 million on the film?
Well, we had to do a spreadsheet, George. We had to do a budget analysis. We did a spreadsheet, everything from craft services, who Jen Smith took care of all our food and craft services. So we had a budget for food, budget for plane tickets, travel expenses, hotel rooms. We knew what we wanted to spend. Stacy Toy, again, she wore many hats, working on this film, and she was very helpful of finding places for the crew and cast to stay in hotels for shooting. SAG actors, they get paid, so that has to go into a different account, a different pay account that the pay account winds up paying them. That's something that has to get done that SAG, requires.
But they're guaranteed a certain amount.
Yeah, they're guaranteed a certain amount. And, to be perfectly honest with you, prime example, Ernie O'Donnell should have gotten a lot more. But he is...
Agreed.
He's a great friend. I love him. I take a bullet for him in a second. And let me tell you something about Ernie. He wouldn't take more than what that SAG would say. If you get $125 a day, that's all he would take. When Ernie was done filming, Ernie was the first guy to start taking down a set, or the first guy to start putting up a set. He would act and work behind the scenes. It was crazy. And same thing with, like Ed McKeever, another one that wore so many hats. Jesus, he was all over the place. You would have thought that he had, triplets of them, because he was everywhere. We had microphones, walkie-talkies, because we're on a mountain filming, and we had to know where certain people are. But Ernie was one of those actors that he took his daily rate, never asked for a penny more. And it seems like that was the rolling trend. Everybody, I work for SAG, they had very, low and fair rates, and they loved the project, and they said, I really want to do this, and I knew that some of them could get like a lot more money, hundreds of dollars more, a day. And they were great. So we pay for. We have a certain amount of money allocated for paying them, and then taking care of the food and taking care of staff, and then the rental of equipment. That was a nice chunk of money. It was the equipment rental. We got a lot of stuff for free, a lot of freebies. Gene made some phone calls with that helicopter. We had a helicopter in the film and aerial shots. Freebie.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Not bad when you got to play with a helicopter.
Right? Exactly, Jeff.
I know a guy.
Oh, it's funny because Gene knows this guy. His name's Aaron Mueller. He's a fantastic guy. I met him a couple of times with Gene. He lives in Pennsylvania. Alan's he's an entrepreneur, another man that has done very well for himself. and he owns that airport where you see the helicopter land. That's his place. He owns that, owns a helicopter, owns like a small diamond district. He owns a lot of property throughout Pennsylvania. Very well-to-do guy. So he was like, yeah, you can take my helicopter. Yeah, you could do this. You could do that. Wouldn't take a dime. So a lot of things that we've gotten, like the sets, people just said, yeah, I want to be a part of it. So we got a lot of freebies, guys. And if I remember correctly, we did, God, I think I did a breakdown of how much everything would have cost if I had to pay for the helicopter, the gas. We had drones flying, which, Ernie directed those scenes, these drones, flying up ahead for the aerial shots. Everything would have probably cost with property rentals and permits. And we did get permits in Atlantic City. We had to, do some, they're by the book, so we had to deal with some permits there, but for the most part, and hiring police to block off roads,
Sure.
That was a nice chunk of change. But we would have had probably about $250,000 just for in freebies, or more.
It's funny though how when the true sort of indie spirit comes through, it is truly infectious. It really is. You go, you roll in somewhere with a crew of people who are there for the love of what they're doing, and it's something about it. It's people jump on board. They help out. It's really cool.
Oh, they do. I mean, like I said, everybody did. Everybody was great. God. Oh my God. Dawn Flynn, makeup by Flinderella. She did our special effects. She worked on special effects with Ricky Vitus and Zach Graham. Dawn, we love you. We love you. We love you. We love you. She was absolutely amazing, and she's a great, great makeup artist, and her special effects and what she does is just off the chain. The best.
And actually, you bring up an excellent point. Projects are so much better when it's done for the love of the art and not for the fame and the money. Absolutely.
Joe and I were just talking about that last night, actually.
We were.
Yeah. About a film that we will not name.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can name it. It's us four. We won't say anything.
Well played.
So we've got a couple of other folks from your cast and crew that we want to bring up, right?
We do, and you guys are going to have to change your hats now because you were both actors on this also, correct?
I did a cameo. Oh, them.
Well, no. I mean, you were like, I don't know, some biker guy that was in the...
I was the guy looking stupid.
That was going to sing YMCA? No, I'm kidding. Hey, if everybody was getting digs on me, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Jason was just dying to wear the chaps.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I am going to bring up the two lovely ladies that have been waiting patiently, shooting daggers at me, going, are we coming on soon?
Well, we've been rambling.
We have, and we do apologize, Catherine and Katie. I'm actually going to let Jason introduce each one of these ladies. I'm going to bring them up one at a time. I'm going to bring up Catherine first.
Catherine Corcoran. The beautiful Catherine Corcoran, one of the co-stars in my film, 100 Acres of Hell. Hello, beautiful. She's in London right now. It's like 3 a.m. there. And she looks like she's ready for the day.
I don't know about that. You guys can't see it, but I have my pajama bottoms on right now. This is like straight slumber party style.
Catherine, welcome to the Brigade. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
And well, on that note, I'm going to bring Katie on also. And Katie, we're going to have some other stuff to talk about because we have Lauren on next week. So.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
But I'll let Jason introduce Katie.
Hi, Katie. How you doing, sweetheart?
I'm lovely. How are all you people?
Good. I'm so happy Katie's here. Katie, oh my God, she was one of you know what, everybody loves your scene, especially when you guys are at the fire and you're talking about Jeb Tucker, you know, and you have Cutter right next to you saying there ain't no Jeb Tucker. The hell, you know, you say there ain't no Jeb Tucker. He's like, the hell there ain't. You know, everybody says that you're just genuine. You know, and you did a great job. And I'm so happy you're with us right now. Like you said earlier, because we talked before the show, was, you know, this is the first time that we're actually all together, you know, since we stopped filming.
Wow,
what,
there's a lot of fans.
2016, right?
Yeah, I think we were together for one showing.
Catherine. What's that?
I think we may have been together for one showing, but that was years ago.
Yeah,
So
but I don't
it's so
think
nice to have
Catherine,
everyone in
no.
the same place again.
I think this is like the first. There's Catherine, Jeff, you, and myself. So I'm happy to see this. Why? And you know what? I'm taking a picture right now, which I'm going to post.
You're the selfie king. Are you kidding me?
Got it. Sweet. Got you.
Well, this is pretty great. It's pretty great to have everybody here, and it's pretty great to have everybody on at once. And Joe, I'm so happy
that I muted my mic when I said I was taking a picture of Jason taking the picture.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm
Okay.
fuck it up.
Well, thank you, George.
I love you, Joe.
I love you, George.
Katie, Catherine, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Catherine, I know it's late as hell there. Katie, thank you for being patient with us. I know that you guys have been around waiting for us to just ramble and shoot the shit. So,
But now everybody has their actor hat on for the movie.
wow, you guys actually you stole me on putting on those hats.
We're taking classes in miming, all of us, so that's why we're all practicing.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I love it.
It's not our first rodeo.
So what was this experience like from the acting side of things? This has been a project that took a long time to get done. This has been a project that does not look like it was done for the amount of money that it was done for. And it looks like it's probably one of the most collaboratively independent sort of groups I've seen. I can't remember the last time I've seen a group of people so passionate about doing something together.
And this is when I'm going to have to jump in. George, you're actually going to have to address each individual person when you ask a question, so they don't. We've never done this before with this many people.
How about I address one individual person right now, Joe?
Hold on a second.
Joe. There
Blame
you go.
Joe.
Hashtag blame Joe. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm probably not going to do that.
Okay.
Because I just kind of want to talk. Basically, this is great. I want you guys to kind of tell everybody what are some experiences. You know, the big thing about the Indie Brigade is that we're trying to create a resource here where independent filmmakers, actors, everybody in the indie world and indie community can learn from every episode of the Indie Brigade. There's only so much that they can learn from listening to my ass ramble. And that's why we try to have on folks like you guys and folks like some of our other guests who are interested in kind of spreading the infectious thing that is indie film, because it really is. I mean, this stuff can't get done without a truly collaborative spirit. And you know, I'd like to know from Katie and Katie, because apparently you're both Katie, even though you say Catherine and on screen there. I'd like to know from you guys, you know, what was that like to be a part of as an actor, to be a part of something so collaborative? Either one of you.
Would you like to go first? You're on that side.
I don't know which way to look to talk to you.
I want to know how awesome it was to work with me.
I was actually going to say that. No, I really was.
Threw up a little bit in my mouth there.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I really was. I think this project, when I came on it, I was actually doing 2 other projects at the same time. So they were really awesome about working around my schedule. And it became kind of like a breath of fresh air where I felt like I could just kind of relax and like be myself. And I was thrilled to be able to work with you guys. Jason drove all the way to my house in Brooklyn and drove me from there to South Jersey. He like brought my dog. It was like, I think when he like got to my house, we like just talked and like pet my dog, and he found like a tick on her and helped me get it off. It was really like this like weird like family kind of dynamic in like the best possible way. And every time I hear from one of these guys, I get so excited just because it really does feel that way. And I think that's unique to indie films, especially films at this level where everyone's kind of in it together and you really do bond and you really become close. And there's just a love there that, you know, you can't take away afterwards, especially when you spend a lot of time huddled together around a fire.
Yeah.
And it was cold. We had some cold nights in
Did you?
Pennsylvania filming this.
Yeah.
And what Catherine said is true. It kind of seemed like this group of people is very special. And I kind of came in. I didn't really know anybody. I heard about the film through somebody. And we met up at a Starbucks to see if I might be a fit for the role. And I was. So there I was. But everybody in this group had such good chemistry on screen and off screen. And I think that's really what made it click so well. As soon as I stepped on set, the flow was just so easy to come into. And it was a really cool project to work on because it was so easy. Well, for us, I mean, the putting together, the acting part was easy, but I think when it comes to what Jason was doing and what Jeff was doing with the production and everything else on the side and the financial, maybe that wasn't so easy, but from our standpoint as the actors, it was a very cool flow to be a part of.
Well, you know, and it's interesting to hear you both say that too, because, you know, a lot of times when you deal with indie films sort of at this budget level, you know, you don't get actors who have a ton of great, nice things to say about the production or the people behind it.
It's not my phone.
Yeah, it's not my phone either.
I blame Jason.
They blame me. I heard it too.
Oh, we need a new hashtag. Blame
We need a
Jason.
hashtag blame Jason.
Right? I'm going to work on that one.
No, but you know, you don't hear that a lot, and you know, it is true. The chemistry. I mean, even just the chemistry here on the screen tonight is phenomenal. It's unbelievable. I don't see this kind of shit. I've been doing this my whole fucking life, and I've never seen this kind of like people so happy to see each other again. You know, I mean,
The camaraderie, absolutely.
yeah. You know,
Well, I think that's a testament to what Jason kind of created. I mean, Jeff as well, but I know that this was Jason's project from the get-go, and I think his passion for it and his passion for the people he works with, and he really does regard everybody that he works with as family. He'll check in about just like your day-to-day and what's going on. That I think that just translates onto so like that, and everybody was like that. Jeff, Katie, everybody, and I think that just stays that way. It's just the type of people you work with, and I think that's a little bit of a karmic thing, you know. You attract good people, I hope.
Yeah.
And even the chemistry aside, the story is so cool. Like it's got this like culty type thing that just has a hook, and it really brings up this Jeb Tucker character, which is this new idea, finally something original that you don't really see that much right now in film. And it's just, you really do get hooked from the start. And I really think that was part of it too, was the plot and the story and being involved in it with these people and what was it going to turn out like. And the film really did turn out pretty damn cool, I think.
Yeah, it really did. So you bring up a really good point there. So how much of that were you guys just kind of in it at that level? I mean, were you just all in it like the whole time you were together? I mean, it was just, you know, you knew what you guys knew. You know, sometimes you work on films and you're not sure. Sometimes you work on films and you just know that you're doing something cool and doing something special. Katie, is that what you think kind of happened with this? You think everybody kind of knew?
I think so. Yeah.
You can feel it, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
We were pretty lucky to have that group of people together at that time. Plus, it was so cold. We were all kind of dying, and that kind of bonds people.
Yeah, it's funny how
it's
your
funny, we had,
experiences do that.
The huge bonfire that we did. I mean, when they say cut, people would huddle around this because it was that cold, and we were stoking. I mean, I was throwing logs onto this fire, keeping it like 5-6 feet tall because it was so damn cold where we were. We're on this coal mountain in Pennsylvania.
Where in PA?
Pennsylvania.
Where?
Northwest Pennsylvania. What was it? I think it was New Ringgold, PA. And this gentleman who knows Gene owns a mountain. And on the other side of this, you drive down this main street, and you see this huge piece of property with a little house. And then across the street is another huge piece of property. It's just a mountain and that's a coal mountain. It has mine shafts, everything, and that's where we filmed the fight scene where Jed Tucker lived. By in that little camper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jason's so nonchalant. The guy owns a mountain.
Yeah.
Helicopter,
Yeah.
pretty guy on the
You know,
You need a guy
helicopters.
who owns what do you need, a helicopter? You need a mountain?
Right.
You know a guy.
Yeah. And, it's funny. The guy's like, yeah, so, we had this ridiculous bonfire, and the whole mountain's made out of coal. What assholes we are! Because here we are with this, and then you can just stoke the fire, and we didn't really think about it until we were done filming. The whole mountain could have went up. We would have been all blown up. But you know what? We survived it, and the place didn't blow up. And it's funny because everywhere you would go, there were chunks of coal everywhere.
Well, you would have been warm.
Yeah.
We would have been very warm.
You know what? The film gods
Oh,
really let that happen, man.
And then I'm going to let the girls talk. One of the funniest things, Ed McKeever. Sorry, Ed, I gotta tell it. Ed McKeever, my boy, was up on top of the hill with a big light fixture, shining down, down the mountain a little bit, with lighting gear. And Ed's a big guy, man. Ed is, 6'5", 6'6", 290 pounds. He's a monster. Ed falls down the fucking mountain. Dude, I laughed so hard. I was dying. He falls down the mountain and catches himself on a tree. It was like watching Stallone in Cliffhanger. He just falls down this mountain. Like, if you know Ed, see Ed, he is just monster. And he falls down. And Ed also played, a double for Jed Tucker. One of the doubles for Jed Tucker in the film as well. But that's it. That's what I wanted to say. It was one of the funniest things. Anyway, girls, go ahead. It's all you.
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't know how to follow that.
He just put you guys right on the spot. He's like, let me tell this great story. And back to you.
Katie just said that they all did their own stunts, obviously. So
I wanted to throw in, if you don't mind, guys, about the camaraderie that you mentioned, George, between the whole cast, and it really did permeate. When you have a low-budget film like this, we consider ourselves a bunch of underdogs. But when you got involved, I think each person then could see other people on set, whether it was the part of the cast or part of the crew. Like I said at the opening, when you saw the passion that was involved and the talent level, not only the passion, but the talent that everybody had in here. So it made my job easier when I'm doing a scene with Katie or with Catherine or with Ernie or whoever. You see the talent level, it made my job easy. And you were actually, as underdogs, you want this film to succeed. You're rooting for those people.
Yeah.
And so I think that's when I became like the biggest fan. I became a cheerleader for a lot of these other actors and not just actors and then the sound guys. I mean, it was amazing for everybody to work with. So I was so happy. And I think I think everybody kind of felt the same thing to get back. So we all were going towards this common goal.
Yeah,
for success.
I agree.
I think that's an interesting point. I think that most indie crews, the good ones out there, the ones that do come together and have that family thing, I think there is an underdog element to it. There's an island of misfit toys type thing that goes on.
Yeah.
And everybody is there, and everybody's a little fucked up, and everybody's a little tired, and everybody's a little this or a little bit broken from whatever happened. And but we all kind of managed to keep each other going. And a lot of times in my past, it's been keeping other people going that's helped me keep myself going. And I'm wondering, how much of that, must have been on this, because you guys sound like you were up against some real, real adversity out there, just with the nature and the
yeah, let Jason take this one, please.
I only hung off the tree till they called cut. No way my impending doom was going. That's Big Ed. That's the guy who fell down the fucking mountain.
spoken like a true film crew member. Spoken like a
man
true
right
film
there.
guy.
Ed McKeever, and I'm actually working with him another project, and with Catherine called Matt Rats. But that's another story.
Well, yeah, but I think just as indie filmmakers in general, I mean, 90% of what we read, watch, and listen to is owned by 6 major media companies. So when you go into a project like this where you're not backed by one of those companies when you're, maybe not making the kind of income that you like to make as a freelancer, which we all are, as storytellers in any capacity. I think it can be really daunting, and it can to extend the metaphor, feel like you're at the bottom of a mountain and that you're just like struggling to get up, and you can't, climb something like that without each other. And I think you really do, you learn to lean on each other, and in doing that you kind of build each other up, and then you build the project up, and that's how these things do kind of push forward. And if we're going to see any sort of forward momentum and change in our industry wherein these kind of stories, original stories, are getting told, it's going to be by supporting each other and coming together as a family, not just on each project, but as an indie community as a whole.
That's right. That's what the Brigade is all about. That's absolutely what we're all about. You know what I'm saying? And it makes me really happy to hear you say that, because I don't think enough people realize that. Too many people are in this for themselves. And, while it's important to be in it for yourself because survival, it's you can't, there's two types of survival. And the indie community used to be about not only survival, but collaborative survival. It was about, it was more of a musketeer type thing, all for one and one for all type thing. And that doesn't exist a whole lot anymore, and as actors, Katie and Catherine, Katie, we'll start with you. I mean, do you find that on a lot of films that you do? And I'm curious to know what everybody thinks about this, but just to start here, Katie, do you find that a lot of films are as collaborative as this film, or do you find that there's more films that don't have this kind of spirit behind them when you go work on them?
I've been pretty lucky to have been a part of some cast and crews for some of these films where we are pretty tight. Some of them don't. Some of them are not that way. And truthfully, those films where the people are not as tight, they don't really go anywhere. They don't even hit a festival. This one seems to have a little more staying power, which I love. But I've been pretty lucky to experience both. But it's true that when people come together, doing what they love, and they bring a love for, each other with it into, that set, it just gums things together a lot more and gives it a lot more propulsion to go where we all want it to go.
Very well said. Catherine, what do you think? Do you agree with that?
Yeah,
is that your experience too?
Yeah, I mean, I've been really, really lucky. I mean, a lot of the projects I'm on are still pretty close with a lot of the people that I've worked with. And I know that that's rare, and I feel really lucky that that's a thing. The first lead I ever had in a feature, I've been in the wedding of two of those people. I mean, like I asked Jay-Z about this kid all the time. I think I'm just really lucky. But I think also when you're working, there's a difference between a project at a low budget level that you can feel that the crew is really excited about, and the story pushes boundaries, it's exciting, versus a project that's a little bit more commercial and a little bit more cookie cutter. Not to say that we're not all, stoked to be making movies like Tarantino says, but I mean, there's just a difference, I think, in excitement and challenges that you have to come up against, and that's kind of exciting. It's like putting together a puzzle. And I think I've been really lucky that I've gotten to do a lot of genre work, and genre tends to kind of take those risks before others do. So it's just been really exciting. And I agree. I think we're all really lucky that we've had that.
That's awesome.
Well said.
I want to hit some comments, if I may, just because I don't know who they're referring to, but I think they know them. So Lee Hoffman.
Oh, Lee, she's the one that designed. I was talking earlier about the costume, Ted Tucker costume with her husband, Ralph.
Gotcha. And then Ed said, absolutely, Lee Hoffman, you rock. Miss you guys. Friend of the show, Mick. Hey, just Mick. Peeping in. Mick is a stand-up guy. Some people may know him.
Could be Mick. I'm sorry, it was horrible.
Mick is actually one of the Indie Brigade mentors. He's in our mentor program, actually.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a great thing going with some folks in the industry that way.
I'm like seeing a whole bunch of blame Joe. No. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Blame Joe.
Keith.
Fuck
Thank
you,
you,
Joe.
Keith. Wow. Okay. I'm going to start getting a complex here.
Blame Joe merch is coming. You muted your microphone,
We
Joe.
lost you, Joe.
It's because I had to do the George.
Joe button.
I had to do the George thing and clear my throat, and I hit the mute button, and I unfortunately didn't put it back on.
Damn.
But what I was going to ask about is there's I don't know who exactly to ask. Probably Jason. That there's a slight rumor that a sequel, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. When this was put together, to be a trilogy, and I had in my mind, especially with the way I ended the film, I had in my mind where I wanted to pick up, and then where I wanted the sequel and the third sequel. And one of the things was when I was doing the deal with Indica Pictures and Lionsgate, they wind up saying that why are you going to limit yourself to just 3? Why do you put a block on yourself? Because if Friday the 13th did that, there only would have been 3. There wouldn't have been 15 of them, or 10 Halloweens, or all that stuff. Which you're right. So, there's going to be many sequels, and that's something that I've been working on a script for the sequel. Ernie O'Donnell has been working on the script for the sequel, and we're collaborating on it. And we just talked about it actually a couple of weeks ago with different ideas we're throwing around. And of course, we're going to have the girls. These lovely ladies are going to be in the sequel because
Nice.
watch the movie. They're in there. They survive. I just spoiler alert, but these two, these two beautiful young ladies, they survive.
Yeah. Jeff's character screwed with my head. So
What are you saying, Jay? Just so we're all seeing the film. What are you
You see,
saying?
one thing people have to understand too is
that's why I just said he screwed with my head. I didn't say anything else.
when you watch the ending of the film, and a lot of people either got it or didn't get it, and people would say, what the hell happened? Why had a twist like that with Gene? And I said, you have to understand, when you're watching the movie from the beginning, you see Gene, he's taking his medicine, he's taking his pills, correct?
Yeah, he's a broken man.
He's a broken man. What you don't, and he sees his daughter who passed away, who died. Nobody else sees it. You have to understand, in those 3 years, he has not seen his friends. He has cut himself off. He is not wrestling anymore. He's just in his own world. Gene had a breakdown. So Gene just doesn't take those pills that you think are helping his back and painkillers. Those are also antipsychotics, which nobody knows about. So by the time all this comes full circle, and
Spoiler alert!
What's that?
Spoiler alert!
No, yeah, but but then he sees Trent. And people. That's what happened.
I found the lance in me. I'm sorry.
He had the breakdown. And that was something that it's like then he twisted, and he's not there anymore. He lost all his fucking marbles, pretty much. But just so you want to know, spoiler alert, Jeb's not dead. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
If you were.
That's actually saying a lot.
That's saying a lot. That's
You're like, I'm just going to say this one little thing.
The whole idea of making a trilogy and making a movie about a killer and trying to make him iconic is to bring him back, like Jason, like the Friday 13th, the Freddy Krueger, the Mike Myers. There's a lot to it, and it's not what you it's not.
You see, I thought you were going in a different direction with it, to be honest with you. And again, potential spoiler alerts going from
No, it's fine, but
Jeff to Gene to somebody else, possibly.
Yeah, but it's a potential spoiler alert, but it's not the kind of spoiler alert that you're thinking. This is going to be very twisted. It's different. This sequel is going to be different.
Well, I love it.
But the Jeb's character, he carries on. I'm not saying it could be anybody.
Got it. So, with the experience with the first movie and the popularity, so what kind of budget are you looking at for the second one?
Well, it's funny.
Potentially.
Well,
75,000.
75,000, Jeff said.
when I was talking to the distributor, and they were talking about budgets and how much, if this movie does well, they would like to pick up the sequels, and by picking up the sequels, they would be paying for the budget. It's all Jeff's fault.
You jackass.
Look at him. Look at Ernie. He's stupid. Look at him. Look at him. Dumb looking. But when we were talking about it, they kind of hit me for a loop, and I was on the phone. I was with Ernie on the conference call with them, with the distributor, and their budget per film it was $4 to $6 million a film, and that's considered a low budget.
Mm-hmm.
That's considered their low budget. That's what they were saying that Lionsgate would do. That's like the lowest that they go to make a film. Yeah. And I remember just, pretty much keeping cool, getting off the phone with them, and 200 Acres of Hell. You got it, buddy. And I remember telling Ernie, I was like, holy shit, Ernie. Let me tell you something. We did ours for $65,000. You give me $1 million, I'll give you fucking Avatar.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
So
absolutely.
You give me $4 to $6 million. All right, we're going to give you something that you've never seen before.
Yeah. It's obvious based on this film and what you guys pulled off for the budget that you pulled it off for. It's obvious that if you were to be given like $1 million budget or more, it'd be ridiculous what you guys could pull off, and I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Thanks, George. Yeah, so am I. Can't wait.
We got Gregory Wheels Marks tuning in. Thank you very much. To answer your question, it is 100 Acres of Hell. Where is that available?
100 Acres of Hell is available on Hulu, Vudu, Amazon, Comcast, Verizon, iTunes, Google Play. God, what else? Time Warner Cable. I do some music. I know a band. You know what? I'm gonna pull that up because I do have a list, but it's on so many platforms right now. It's going to be coming out on DVD very soon. I'm actually waiting on the date for the DVD because I have a lot of Indiegogo supporters that were amazing, and they some of the packages come with that they bought to help us with our DVD. So I really can't wait to get those DVDs out and posters out to those supporters. Our platforms.
While you are looking that up, guys, we actually have to start wrapping this up. Okay. So what I am going to do is I am going to start with the ladies, and I'm going to start with Catherine, since you're up way past your bedtime, apparently. Where can we?
I really appreciate it. I'm so glad I could do it from across the pond.
The pond.
It's great that you joined us tonight. And I think what Joe's getting at is, where can we find you? Tell everybody where they can find you and what's going on with you.
Like on my socials.
Absolutely.
Socials, movies. What do you got going on? Plug it.
Right now, I have another film called Terrifier that you can watch on Netflix. They're actually the second one. That one though. Spoilers. You can also watch. I encourage everyone to watch this film Long Lost that I'm super, super, super proud of. It's on Amazon. And if you don't like horror, you can watch me on the Hallmark Channel in Last Vermont Christmas. I'm stating that.
And that was called Timber, her latest film.
I guess online, I'm still here, I swear. Online, you can follow me on Instagram, Insta Catherine C with a C, on Twitter, Catherine Corcoran, and on Facebook, Catherine Corcoran. That's it.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me. I'm still here. I swear I didn't follow just the phone.
And we hope to have you on again with future projects. That was awesome. Katie,
Definitely.
please tell us what you have going on and where they can follow you at.
Well, right now I'm working on a film called Agoraphobia. It's still in the works. Hopefully it'll be out sometime next year. And it's a feature film. I've done a lot of shorts with this group that we're doing this film with, but this one's going to be a long one. You can find me on Facebook, Katie Walsh. There's a lot of us, but here's my face. You'll see me on there.
There he is. Beautiful.
And my Instagram, it's not an acting Instagram. It's all my photography, if you're into that kind of thing. My username on Instagram is DarthCater33.
Ooh,
Love it.
love
Excellent.
it. It's awesome, right?
So that's where I'm at.
Awesome. Well, thank
All
you.
right. Beautiful. That perfect. And Jeff, it is your turn, sir.
No, well, I'm all in right now. I'm taking an acting hiatus, but I'm all in for 100 Acres of Hell. We are going down to a HorrorCon soon. I think it's in March, and we're going to be promoting that.
That's right.
But we're going to be looking for myself to get involved and be producing some other films to bring you guys some awesome rock and indie stuff in the future. So
Excellent.
You're awesome. I love you.
Excellent.
Love
Well,
you,
we
Jeff.
look forward to talking to you some more too, Jeff. Thank you.
All right. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to drop the ladies and gentlemen that we just spoke with. Again, we will see you another time, I hope. And I'm
Bye,
going to
guys.
start clearing up the screen. And then we're going to give Jason his final moment. Go ahead.
All right. Well, first thing, the platforms that the movie's on, I'm going to read them off to you. They are on Amazon, Vudu, Hulu, Redbox, On Demand, iTunes, Google Play, Verizon, Comcast, Dish Network, DirecTV, Time Warner Cable, Fandango, Sony, Stars, AT&T, Frontier, Xbox, YouTube, US TV Now for the military, so everybody overseas that are in the military, they can watch it. Charter, Microsoft. Couple of more. It's a couple of more platforms that I don't have yet, but they just let me know that they're going on, and we'll be on DVD soon. You know, you can follow us on 100 Acres of Hell. You know, on Facebook. Follow me at The Real Jason Kerner on Instagram, and Jason L Kerner on Facebook, and 100 Acres of Hell on Instagram. Follow us, you know, and check out the movie, you know, check it out.
Excellent.
Oh, and I want to say one more thing to my boys, to everybody that worked on the film. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys were amazing, everybody from cast and crew. And I want to thank my boys who are out there, the NJDOT, Sayreville 312, Todd and the crew. These guys, I love them. They're out there working safety for a big ass fire, you know, on Route 35 in Sayreville. Guys, I hope you're safe. I love you guys. That's it. That's all I got.
Are you sure this time?
That's it. I'm good, Joe.
Jason, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I appreciate you, man. It's been a real pleasure talking with you and your crew, man.
Pleasure, guys. Thank you. Love you guys, and you guys rock, man. You really do. Thank you.
We
Have a great
appreciate
night.
it. We'll do it again.
All right. Love to. Thank you.
All right.
See ya. Joe. Great show.
Absolutely fucking phenomenal.
Great show. You did a great job, man.
Even with me interrupting?
You know, fuck you. No, I think it was a really good show. And I was so thrilled that everybody came on. What a great group of people. What a great project. You know, what a wonderful, like, infectious indie spirit all of them have, you know? I mean, it's cool, and that's the shit that I want people in the indie brigade to see exists. You know, it's not always banging your head against the wall. Even if you do bang your head against the wall, you do it with people who are like-minded, who have the same goals and who have the same spirit as you, and, you know, and it works out.
And it did, and it was very cool. And it's not just, you know, go on an acting gig, get pissed off, and go on to the next one. You got that camaraderie. Why can't I say that freaking word?
I don't know. Are you drunk?
No, not yet. It might be the medicine.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. All right. Well, listen, man, I guess, for anybody listening to the audio streams, this has been Romero Pictures Indie Brigade with me, George C. Romero, and Joe Rigsby, Ranchley, or as we all know and love him, Joe Ridgely. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight.
Wait a minute. Where can they find us?
I don't know. That's all on you.
Seriously?
RomeroPictures.com.
Where else?
RomeroPictures.com.
All right. So also Facebook, Dick. Facebook, Twitter,
Instagram.
Indie
Brigade, right? Indie _ Indie dot, or
Indie _ Brigade. Having a difficult time with iHeartRadio right now, updating our shows, but other than that, we got Pandora, we got Apple, we got Google. Crap. I should have been
literally everywhere. It's on your post too, so hang on. Fuck you. Also, your mic is blowing out. You've got some hot spots coming on your audio right now.
Really?
Yeah, just letting you know.
That's no bueno. Did I change the setting and I didn't know?
I don't fucking know.
Or is it the sick thing?
No. There's some.
Is there?
Some audio, like pop. You're popping.
So you're saying I need a pop filter?
Yeah, probably. See, when I speak through mine, see how I sound? I sound pretty amazing, don't I?
And you see how I speak through mine.
See, you sound all fucked up. I'm looking for
I'm going to say, where's the list, man? Come on.
I don't know. I didn't have it pulled up because this is your thing.
My thing? I was the one bouncing back and forth doing everything. What are you talking about? Now the New York accent's going to come out and...
What are you talking about? What are you doing? I can't even find my own fucking Facebook page. I'm so hopped up on cold medicine.
Hold on one second. Hold on. I got this, I think.
Jesus.
See more. See more what? All right, there we go. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pandora, TuneIn, RadioPublic, Breaker. Did it sound okay without the pop filter?
Yeah, you sounded all right.
All right, fair enough. So other than that, thank you again to everybody who was with us tonight and who joined us tonight. Unfortunately, we can't get to every question or comment. It interrupts, and we got to get better with the whole kind of interrupting with that.
Yeah, we're working on it. I mean, we try to get to everybody, but what's important about the Indie Brigade show is that, we get into such a flow when we're talking that we don't always necessarily, I forget to kind of look over, which I need to get better at, because I get into what we're talking about. So
we'll take this one,
everybody. Ernie, thanks, man. I appreciate it, and I'm taking your compliment completely on me because fuck Joe. Ernie, looking forward to having you on again, pal. Thank you for everything and all your support and love, man. Thank you, everybody in the brigade. Thank you, everybody in the community. And as always, fuck off till next time.
Oh wait, I'm supposed to have something prepared here right now, aren't I? Here it goes.